In many ways, I wish we didn't have to have this rally. Why? Because I wish we lived in a world where no one went without a home, where every one of our neighbors had a safe and affordable roof over his or her head. Now let me just give you a little bit of history. So when the right to shelter in New York City was established in the early 1980s, our hope was that this right would translate into the realization that every one of our citizens would have access to food, clothing, and a place to live. We never, many years ago, envisioned the creation of an entrenched shelter system. Yet here we are, nearly 40 years later, and still, every night in New York City, as was said before, nearly 60,000 people are in shelters without a place they can call home, and we are spending nearly $1 billion a year to perpetuate this system. Now, all of us know this is a thorny issue that's been really the bane of every city administration. But we're here today to let the next mayor know that once and for all, we need a commitment to stop the vicious cycle of homelessness. It's a cycle which churns our most vulnerable citizens through a maze of rules, regulations, and chronic despair. We must actually stop talking about, quote, the homeless problem, and we need to change the conversation. The growing number of our neighbors who find themselves without homes is symptomatic of a much larger problem, and that is the continual prevalence of poverty in our city in the midst of incredible wealth. So let's not forget, we live in a city where 25% of our children grow up poor, and Kevin, thank you so much for sharing that, because we're youth, who are aging out of foster care, a real very serious issue, really have little promise of a bright future. We're glad that Keith was able to overcome those things, and he will have a bright future. And let's not forget this, we're the specter of an increase of those leaving our prisons with few opportunities to reintegrate into our communities looms large. We will not end homelessness until we address these underlying causes and really focus our efforts on building stronger neighborhoods. Now, most importantly, we also know, as Larry will say, that there really are three solutions to ending homelessness, and the three solutions are not, as the real estate community might say, location, 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 but the three solutions are housing, housing, housing. So by providing affordable housing options, we create communities that are safe, that are secure for everyone. And while housing the homeless is, first of all, I believe, a real moral obligation, study after study shows that it costs less to house the chronically homeless than it does to do nothing and let people just live in this cycle of churning out of hospitals, shelters, and other facilities. So on an interesting note, as I end, Goddard, Riverside, and our partners in the service provider community, as well as those in government who are our partners, we have created some solutions that we hope a new administration really, really needs to build on. We've been on the streets for years, reaching those who live on the margins and changing lives by providing housing, rehabilitation, and job opportunities. Even since 2007, through our efforts, through our collective efforts, nearly 1,800 homeless people who lived on the streets now have a place to call home, and 90% of those still are in their homes. This works.